Hey guys, what is up? It's Dusty here, and welcome back to another crypto video. And today we have a really interesting episode for everybody who is closely watching the Ripple v SEC lawsuit. Then again, even if you aren't, today I also want to give you guys some answers as to why the price of just crypto in general are moving the way that they are right now. I think I have a little bit of an explanation for you guys. But first of all, let's dive right into the first article of today, which is Block.one, the company behind EOS, just settled for $27.5 million in their EOS ICO class action lawsuit. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is so ridiculously significant for the Ripple versus SEC lawsuit. You almost don't even want to know. But of course, I got to tell you guys about it. So this is a company, Block.one, who held a $4 billion ICO a couple of years ago. And at the time, well, actually in 2019, 2 years after the ICO started, they got sued by the SEC and kind of quote unquote lost because they settled. It depends on what you see as lost. And now a little bit later, they got into a class action lawsuit. And what happened? Well, boom, they settled for $27.5 million. Why is it significant and what really happened here? Like, why am I bringing this up? Well, the reason it's significant / what is happening is that they decided that they were done with this lawsuit. They were literally fed up because they noticed it's taken so many resources, so much energy, and was just really not worth it. And they just basically wanted to avoid the distraction. The reason this really ties in with Ripple specifically is because I've seen so many articles talk about a potential Ripple settlement. We on the channel have talked about it so often too. And one of the things which we saw some lawyers state was that there are quite a couple of reasons why Ripple would like to settle. Now, as time moved on here, people start to get away from that opinion because it really looks like the SEC doesn't really have any strong points to attack Ripple on. It looks so weak, and the judge right now has been waiting so long for a decision. She has to put up decisions on 4 different things. Why has she been waiting so long, right? People have been wondering. Now, mind you now, that even though Block.one firmly found that they have not done anything wrong, and they really try to express that here quite clearly, they firmly believe that this lawsuit was without merit and filled with numerous inaccuracies. However, accepting this settlement allows us to focus more time and energy on running our business and delivering new products, the company said in a statement today. If you kind of take this in and think about it, there's 2 things which I want to kind of catch. 1, Ripple has a way higher chance to just settle it really shortly here than you might think. Because Ripple is firmly fed up with this lawsuit. And think about it, guys. The SEC recently put up a letter where they requested 60 extra days in the discovery period. Ripple then replied saying that would kind of kill us, right? We don't want that. This might have been a strategic move from the SEC. They might have known that they might not really care about the extra days of discovery, even though we like to speculate that they want those days of discovery because they don't really have a good case. They might not even care about the extra days of discovery for themselves. They might care about it because Ripple now has pressure to come to a settlement. And a settlement in this EOS case was $27.5 million on the class action, $24 million for the ICO. Ripple will only pay an amount that they can easily pay and that the SEC can conquer as a win. You might not really have figured it out, but this specific situation is about an ICO. Ripple did not have one of them. Yet, if you think about it, there's so ridiculously much back and forth about that. I mean, Ripple has been charged for so many things which just do not make sense. And one of them being an illegal or unregistered security offering. It starts to get really crazy if you add it all together. Because, well, why didn't they charge them in 2017 when they were cracking down ICOs left and right? Why didn't they charge them with EOS and TZOS while they could? Why didn't they charge them before? Why wait so many freaking years? It's all strange, right? But maybe the SEC has changed up their strategy. That is what I would say had I not read this article just now. SEC leaves cryptocurrency out of its agenda, at least not explicitly. Take a closer look, however, and there are several opportunities for regulators to get their feet wet. One of the things which I really stated in my live stream earlier and started to think about is, why hasn't the SEC actually taken any steps to regulating crypto properly since 2017? Think about it. The last big rulebook that came out was the ICO rulebook in 2017, and the last big decision was the Bitcoin and Ethereum verdict in 2000, and I don't know when exactly that came out. Why haven't they made the Bitcoin and Ethereum things public? Might it be because they want to go for this Ripple lawsuit first, or what exactly were they thinking? Well, the more I read into it, the more I think about it, they have really done a couple of things explicitly because that would work out for them in a better way. I believe firmly by now that Gary Gensler is, within his time period that's not so long, he's not going to be at the SEC for too long, is actually, potentially, not going to get any single thing done. Not a single thing. We were watching a video earlier today in the live stream about the Ethereum verdict. Ethereum was clearly an ICO, all right? Clearly a initial coin offering, or at least a sale to get a platform running. Yet they never took action. Gary Gensler himself said that Ethereum can be classified as a security in some way, shape, or form. If you think that they are not doing that because they can't, or not doing that for what reason can you think of that they're not charging Ethereum right now? I can only speculate now that they are not doing that because they made a quote-unquote rule book before on Bitcoin and Ethereum behind closed doors, and they want to kind of stick with that until they have this Ripple thing figured out. Ripple, this entire lawsuit, the SEC knows if the SEC pulls through and kind of pushes them, they will pay a huge settlement. And this, like Jeremy Hogan said, is what pays their salaries. This not specifically, this is a class action, but the SEC specific one of $24 million is what pays their salaries, is what gets the ball rolling so they can do more actions. I firmly believe that once this Ripple verdict is out, in any way, shape, or form, it doesn't matter, that the SEC will go after Ethereum and whatnot, or after other companies, or after anything else. Right now, this is their main priority. We have not seen them do frick all in this crypto realm for the last couple of weeks. They put up a couple of statements, okay, but they've done nothing. And think about it. The SEC cannot make rules for themselves in actuality. No, it has to always go through another party. The SEC almost has no power. Actually, right? Actually. And if I read between the lines, there are quite a couple of things which they could do, but they aren't doing that. They're leaving it all for this Ripple lawsuit. At least, have you guys noticed anything that they're doing? I haven't seen it. Have you actually seen Gary Gensler do anything? I haven't seen it. You have seen him talk about the green stuff, right? For crypto being more green. I always saw that, yes. You've talked about him properly wanting to regulate crypto. Okay, we've seen that. But what have they done? Nothing. And that really started to add up for me here, piece by piece. What we just now saw was the EOS verdict. It might be that they wanted to wait. Maybe they're waiting for something in the background, which is making this whole clock stop for some reason. But no, the conclusion here is I firmly believe that a settlement could be around the corner. You might not believe me. You might say, Dusty, but what proof do you have? Think about it. Ripple wants to continue as quickly as they can. If the verdict is right, there's such a high likelihood. The SEC has been pressing them, and they've been pressing them hard. I think the motion to strike, which was really vague, people talked about it for so long. Like, why would you strike in the discovery period? Why not wait for summary judgment? Why do it now? Why all this stuff? I really firmly believe they wanted to put as much pressure on Ripple as possible to come to a quick settlement, which might be the SEC strategy all along. Maybe they also then do not know exactly what they want to charge Ripple with and why they keep asking for new things, keep trying to search for new things, keep trying to put up new things, of course, things that are not normal for normal discovery, because they just want Ripple to settle. They don't care about the final verdict. They don't care about every single detail. No, they just want this moolah. Just some food for thought. Think about it for yourself, all right? I've told you before, I don't believe in calling anybody corrupt just quite yet until we get some real numbers. But I do believe in this being a game of merits and a game of money, right? And the money is in a settlement, which the SEC might really be pressing Ripple towards because they know Ripple can easily pay that. And by overcharging them, so basically charging the the founder, the CEO, and Ripple, you're putting extra pressure on getting this out of the way. And hopefully, for the SEC, obviously, the motion to dismiss and so also fail. So the Ripple just wants to get out of this regardless, before we go to summary judgment, because you don't know what they have in their back pocket. You don't know how much SEC power has or how much power the SEC has in the back end of things, and you don't know what the SEC has been cooking up. In layman's terms, it might actually be so that the SEC has prepared a certain rule book, which in theory, right, I'm not sure exactly how the rules work here, but I'm just thinking here. I'm just a normal human being thinking here. In theory, the SEC could put up a rule book literally a couple of weeks or a couple of days before summary judgment when it states what constitutes as a security and what not for the crypto realm, right? Of course, a judge has to rule on that too, or at least some higher up party. But what if they get that done just before summary judgment comes in? Maybe they're not too scared for all of that because they know they always have a back end or something like that. Don't think Ripple has such a good hand in summary judgment, aka the next phase. Think that Ripple just wants to get this done as soon as possible too. And the judge not replying on any one of those four decisions that she has to make for so long already, it's putting me into a tight position too where I'm thinking, no, there might be something going on that we just aren't hearing. them sealing Ripple and the SEC, all this stuff now recently too. Guys, what is going on in the back end of things? Think about it, right? It's not that crazy if they just settle for something and admit some quote-unquote guilt. They might just be fed up. They might just be done with it all. I could get that. So be wary. Now, that is one part of everything. That is one part. Why? Well, because I actually have a couple of articles that are open as to the prices and everything. And one of the things which I had was Zero Hedge here put up Bank of America. Everyone knows the Fed will stop tapering as soon as the S&P drops 10%. You know what actually might be a big factor to it all too? It might be the cycles of crypto. There might be more to it than meets the eye. Now, one of the things which I notice is that people often say, oh, manipulation, this manipulation, that. You know that there's actually way more truth and way more extravagancy behind that. Like, for example, here, this article from Zero Hedge is so good. Bank of America, everyone knows the Fed will stop tapering as soon as the S&P drops 10%. I'm not sure if it's the Bank of America or the Deutsche Bank, because that's the argument made by Bank of America CIO Michael Hartnett, who in his latest Flow Show report writes that nobody knows how to trade inflation. Everybody knows how to trade don't fight the Fed. To be honest, that's the same thing with the SEC. Nobody really knows how to go about it and how to trade it properly for right now. And we don't know exactly who will win, but you do know, don't go against them and don't think you've won just quite yet. Don't fight the government in the same sense, right? Work with them, which is again what XRP has been trying to do, which is also interesting because they got in Ripple's team the freaking treasurer, right? They got him in there. What does he mean by that though? Well, when looking at the stubbornly negative real rates, which the DB's Jim Reed discussed, let's quickly see, on Friday when he pointed out that the current gap between the 10-year U.S. yields, 1.5%, and the U.S. CPI, 5%, is a whopping 3.5%, the highest since 1980. In fact, the gap has only been more negative for 10 months in the last 70 years, all of which were in 1974, 1975, and 1980. He said that this is a clear sign that the market views the Fed's tapering as nothing more than paper tiger, because investors know Fed will stop tapering at first hint of trouble, most likely the moment the S&P drops 10%. What I'm kind of getting to is that this whole Bitcoin stuff is, again, if you kind of zoom through here, you can literally see the triangle is just normally forming, right, for Bitcoin. All until people start to really severely talk about regulation. And boom, China regulation come in, more people talk about regulation, prices fall down, right? Why did it come back up? Because people noticed, well, it's actually just a bigger game. Same thing for XRP. Why is the price now more than 10 cents, 20 cents? Because we know they are playing a game. It is orchestrated. It is thought of. This lawsuit was not a coincidence. They looked into this for years. So when the price fell down because of the entire lawsuit, why did it happen? Well, my own opinion, if you kind of look back into it all, people were just panicking and wanted to sell it off as quickly as possible because of others. And that's exactly what we saw here too. The price broke out to the downside for the first time in a little while. People started panicking, started selling off like crazy. Was it really valid though? Well, no, and that's what you saw the next exact day. Price came right back into the triangle because there's actually no fear, and we know crypto can't really go anywhere. Now, is this because of inflation? Is this because of this, that? You can't really know. You can't really say, because we don't know how those actually affect crypto just quite yet. We do know, however, that it's actually got a pretty direct correlation with the stock market. So if the stock market is crashing, which again, can it really happen? I'm not too sure about that. If it can actually crash too hard just quite yet, then all is still good. And right then, the next day, again, we're just moving perfectly within the triangle. Right then, yesterday, we broke out. I made an urgent video update for you guys because, well, could be bad. People, again, are valuing it negatively. People are looming for this death cross and the 21 weekly EMA cross. But right now, the price came right back in. And right now, we are kind of coming to a closing point. Well, because we have no more room to go. Right now, we have to make a decision. And I firmly believe that Bitcoin's recent update, plus the narrative that, well, things are actually ridiculously positive, people aren't really negative towards crypto, institutions are coming in heavily, and regulations could be good. And again, the SEC doesn't really have a game plan in the end of things. All they're doing is waiting off this Ripple lawsuit, and that one might actually turn out to be positive. They might just be playing a money game right here, might not actually be playing a game of really negative stuff. That, well, what actually is negative? Is it China's announcements of regulated crypto? Well, no, because nobody cares about those, actually. I mean, they've regulated it so many times. Is it Donald Trump being negative towards crypto? Of course not. Nobody cares about that either. So what exactly could it be then that's getting these prices down? And when thinking about it, there's really no good explanation for it. Now, You might literally just say that if the price goes down right now, it's all part of the bigger plan. And I firmly believe still that Plan B's stock to flow model works, where it's like crypto can go down for a little while, but it's all quote unquote corrections or short-term bear markets, because the ultimate way we're going is up, up, up. I firmly stand by that to the core, to the core, to the core, and I will always keep defending it too. The next couple of hours will be most important. Right now, why are we going up? You might call it Bitcoin's upgrade. You might also call it people realizing that this is all a fad. It's all a game. The price shouldn't be this low. There's no good reason which you could think of why we should be in a quote-unquote bear market right now, except for other people failing in something that way. And even if XRP gets deemed a security, which people think is only bad for XRP, no, that will determine the entire crypto market's trajectory, because that would be such a bad decision. Mostly from a moral perspective, because again, why would it be a security? But also from the perspective that if XRP could be deemed a security, then every crypto is going to the ground. Ethereum is going to the ground. Almost everything is going to the ground. This one has so much more weight on its shoulders. Even though the SEC is kind of leaving crypto alone, it might be because they're focusing on this one, which will set the precedent for every single other case out there. And really, mind you, very much so, there's a good chance that Ripple is going to settle in the short term here. You heard it here first, right? You heard it here first.